Sweet.
Yes, good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Are you the one representing us? Barrio. It is dad. Barrio, it is. When is it? Ah, where is Rick? Yeah, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Hello. I hope everybody is hearing me. Wow, network looks a problem. Diana is trying to talk, but I'm not picking you. Hello? Is everybody hearing me?
I can hear you.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Right. Once again, good morning, everybody. And welcome to our day 2. Yesterday was a very interesting day. We looked at a number of things, and today we have a plate full of things to look at as well. As we give ourselves some 3 minutes to start, I just want to have a brief recap of what we went through yesterday. Yesterday we had a presentation from our commissioner in the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, the Commissioner for External Trade. We also had a presentation on marketing, which is organizing internally the export business and the marketing your products for exports, which was presented by Sam from Uganda Export Promotion Board. Then we also had the presentation from Brenda, which looked at an exportable product, what to look out for while producing for exports, producing consistency, timely required quality and quantities for export products in a competitive system. Then we also had by ED, which was presented by Brenda, and basically we're looking at why export readiness for enterprises and the steps that we also looked at planning and analysis in exports, elements to consider while preparing export plans, export plan writing skills, components, and their implementation. Today, we shall be looking at the following. We shall be looking at financing, which will be presented to us by Uganda Development Bank. I think Diana will be handling that. And basically, we're looking at how prepared are you to access export financing? That's local and foreign funding. How do you prepare your books of accounts, budgeting, managing your organization, dates, and business financing for exports. We shall also look at logistics and handling exports. We shall also look at logistics and export handling in exports. Then we shall look at company staff competencies and skills in exports. Then we shall look at relationship between producers, exporters, and foreign buyers. And this should be able to take us to around 1. Now, for financing, we shall have 2 presentations. We shall have one presentation from Uganda Development Bank and the other presentation from Microfinance Support Center. So this is how our day will look like. If I look at our participants, the number is quite good. I'm happy about it. So for the finance side, we shall have James from Microfinance Support Center, and Diana from Uganda Development Bank. And they have a lot of things to tell us. They have a lot of guidance to give us. And call upon members to be very attentive, but also become the ambassador. What we are going to learn today, what we are going to hear today, I think we need to share with our networks, because we want to see how we improve exports. On that note, allow me invite somebody to give us opening prayers, and this time round, may I ask Noreen to give us an opening prayer for our meeting. Yes, Noreen.
Good morning, dear participants. Thank you, Ms. Okiki. Can we all humble ourselves in a word of prayer? Loving Father, thank you so much for this time that you've personally. We appreciate that this has been possible. We pray that you guide us during this virtual discussion, and at the end of all this virtual training, we believe that we will be able to transform our country and also improve our export performance at company level. All this I've prayed in the almighty name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much, Noreen, for that prayer. That has actually given us the spirit to kick our day. Now, before we kick off, there's this saying in Uganda that okutambula kulaba and okudda kunyumya, literally meaning to move around. You see when you come back, you become a storyteller. Now, for our meeting today, it is the guiding principle for us is okutambula kulaba okudda kukola. When we go out there, we see. When we come back, we implement. So implementation is very, very important for us in whatever we do. On that note, allow me invite our first panelist, and that is Diana Okot from Uganda Development Bank. Diana, you are welcome.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. I am Diana. I work with Uganda Development Bank. I'm in charge of trade finance. If you stop hearing me clearly, kindly let me know, because network is on and off, as you're aware.
We are hearing you very loud and clear.
You're hearing me loud and clear. Thank you. Uganda Development Bank, for those who may not be aware, is the only locally owned DFI. DFI is a development finance institution. We work with various government bodies to support in the implementation of the National Development Plan. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Is everything okay? Yeah, so I'm here just to talk about two things. One, in line with what Export Promotion Board is trying to do, just to discuss export readiness, but also to also inform you of what products we have available for you to be able to access and take advantage of. Hello?
We are hearing you.
You're hearing me? Hearing someone else
yes.
speaking in the background.
Yes, actually, let me get to this person to mute.
Okay, so I think I'll just follow through what was highlighted here for us to discuss, and then I'll give you a brief of what UDB is expecting right now, what we have available for you, and then we can get into the questions that you might have. So generally, as exporters, it's necessary for some things to be in place before you think about sending your products out of Uganda, whether they are agricultural commodities or things that are manufactured here. I think in terms of financing, it's very important to know how you're going to be able to sustain sending these products out, because usually the volumes can grow. Sometimes the needs change. Sometimes you're already doing well locally, but you're not sure whether starting to do export is the right decision to begin with. So I'm hoping that what we will discuss today will add a little light to that. So of course, if you're planning to start exporting, if you want to export, what is driving it? Can you afford to export?
Yes,
Selling
then.
local is different from exporting.
Then are you on? Then we have lost you. Oh, sorry, we have lost Diana, but I think he should be connecting shortly.
Getting yourself ready to export, you need to start thinking about how this will be financed. Will they send you money and then you send the product, look for the product manufacturer and send, or also if it's let's say an agricultural commodity, or will you be able to pull from your own pool of money to afford it, waiting period for repayment to come, or will you be able to source bank financing, and if you're going to get it, how much is the cost of that financing, and can it incorporate the profit that you're getting from that particular sale? So budget estimation is very critical in determining whether you're ready to export or not. Then, do you do financial reports, books of accounts? Books of accounts are done by different people. If your business is not doing books of accounts, it's important for you to do them, because you need to know totally all the costs that go in there. Sometimes you have money on your account, but there are other costs that you may not consider. So books of accounts show you the life of the business, the actual life of the business, how much profit you're making, how much your expenses actually are, all those things. But we also prefer that you don't just do books of accounts, you have them done by a CPA registered auditor. The list of CPA registered auditors is available online. So for those of you who want to have credible books of accounts that will be recognized by any financial institutions, have them done by a qualified auditor. For someone to be categorized like that, they need to be listed. They need to pay their administrative suspicions, be listed, and maintain that listing. Because if they are not listed, that means maybe they've done
Members, sorry for that. There's a technical challenge a bit, but Diana is connecting shortly.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, we are hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry about that earlier on.
Proceed.
I was talking about I was talking about preparing financial reports and the importance of preparing financial reports. Yeah, sometimes when you want to export also, some of the big companies want to see what kind of business you're running. So they'll ask you to send them audited books of accounts just to understand how healthy your business is. If you don't have them readily, you might miss the business. So it's also important for that aspect that you have them readily available to be able to submit. Yeah. So they have all sorts of things in there, but that's really the relevance of it. It's important for you to have them handy. Then I'm going to talk about funding from financial institutions last, because I'll be talking about what UDB is currently offering at that particular point. Then in terms of profitability, is the business profitable? Is the business profitable? And will the is the business profitable, and will exporting be able to support you when you're exporting? There are different payment terms. It's important the payment terms that are proposed by these foreign people who would here go and just talk about a few other things that we usually request for. I think
Yes, members, very sorry for the network challenge, but we are trying to sort out the challenge. And one of the members has proposed that once Diana settles, the network settles for her, she restarts the presentation. And I think I'll request her to do that. Yes, then are you able to connect now? Then are you hearing us? Yes, I think we're about to get there. I can see she's already connecting.
Hello?
Yes, are you hearing me?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you all hear me?
Hi, it is breaking. You are breaking.
This lady is on her phone.
Is then? Then? Yes, can you start? Now there are proposals. Dan, are you hearing me? Hello, Dan. Hello, Diana. Dan, are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear. I just got back in. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we are hearing you now. There are a few proposals which have been put forward. Hello? Yes, there are people
I've
who are
seen them, I
supposed.
think, but
Your network is still very bad, eh? Your network is still
there are
bad.
people who are proposing that we have still can't hear me at all. You still can't hear me at all.
You are breaking.
You come in and
My end. full actually.
Pardon? Okay, now what we're proposing, Dana, we're proposing that probably as you get your network right, probably you'll come in, you come in later. Shall notify you when to come in as you sort the network challenge. We would probably propose we get to
Okay,
the
that's
next,
fine.
we get to the next presentation, then you'll come later. But also we are requesting, because of the issue of breaking, we are requesting that you also share the slides such that much as there will be breaking, people will be able to follow the slides. Okay, so you will come in later. Let's say get to the next presentation as you sort out the network challenge. Is that okay? Yes, Zana, is that okay with you? Hello?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
It's okay, except just stick to it when I have better network.
All right, all right. Okay, thank you very much. We shall get Diana's presentation at a later stage. For now, we would like to, or we're going to have a presentation from Microfinance Support Center. And James, are you hearing me? James, are you hearing me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Very sorry for this other network challenge. We are requesting you to come in now.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. You're welcome.
Right. Thank you very much, Bwana Moderator. My name is James Mwezi from the Microfinance Support Center Limited. Hello?
Yes, yes, we are hearing you.
Okay. So I thought I would first talk about our mandate as the Microfinance Support Center very briefly. And then I will talk about what drives our mandate. I'll talk about a little bit of the salient features of our strategic plan 2020-2025 and how it is linked to the topic at hand, facilitating export. And then I will talk about our products and I will conclude. So the Microfinance Support Center.
Hey, James, just a minute. Do you have a presentation to share?
I don't have a structured presentation by way of PowerPoint, and I hope I could share that later because I am actually not in Kampala. I'm talking to you from Lira City, and I hope the network. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, so the Microfinance Support Center, for those who may not be conversant with our mandate, is a government-owned agency. And the reason the government established the center was to provide affordable financial services to the financially excluded Ugandans. And that is what we have done since we were incorporated in 2001. The government, I think, was wise to give us two mandates: provision of affordable credit, but also provision of business development services to the beneficiaries of our credit. We therefore are not only aimed at providing credit, but also we handhold our clients, we coach them, we mentor them, and technically assist them to ensure that the credit provided is judiciously utilized so that their enterprises are profitable, they are sustainable, and we ensure that is done. So the Microfinance Support Center is headquartered in Kampala at Nakasero Road, but we have 13 other branches across the country. In most of the major towns, one will find our branches there. We have branches in Kabale, we have Ntungamo, a satellite office now, Mbarara, Masaka, Arua, Jinja, Mbale, Soroti, Lira, where I am right now. And we also have in Kabarole. So most of the major towns in Uganda and cities, you will find the presence of MSC. And these offices can quickly also pick your application, can quickly provide advisory services so that you are included and facilitated. Talking about our current strategic plan, 2020-2025, we have one major strategic objective that looks at, that responds to government aspirations and agendas. And one of them is the substitute import. It means that we are going to facilitate exports in one way or the other. But our entry point as MSC would be to facilitate local production, facilitate value addition activities so that the exporters can then pick it from there and do their exports. So for us, we are not an organization which is going to provide you with letters of credit, provide you with trade finance, but what we do is pick you up from the production level to value addition level to product improvement level to where you can then be able to package your product and export. And I think that is where other players then will come in. Diana, before we lost her, she was talking of how do you then make yourself ready to benefit from the financing of UD, and say how do you make yourself ready to benefit from a microfinance support center, given the space that we play in that I have described. The mandate that we have of the business development services allows us to prepare our clients for market to be a local market. But like she rightly said, before you venture into the export market, naturally you would have tried the local markets, you would have matured in your business, and then you would now look at beyond Uganda's borders. And so this is where now we really come in to make sure that through our BDS development service support, and by the way, we established a consulting arm. Some of these things she talked about, like having good books of accounts, being audited, having a business plan, and these are the things that we offer in our consulting services. And as you know, for us, we are not a for-profit organization, and so one would access these services mainly on cost recovery, really. And the people have benefited. We have also had the organization supporting us to beef up our consulting arm. Right now, we also have an e-learning, which is going to be launched soon. So because of the challenges of COVID, you may not have to walk into microfinance support centers offices to access BDS support, but you could also access it via the online and digital platforms. So I think it's interesting that the audience also gets to know some of the main developments that have come, especially in light of our new strategic plan. We want to leverage technology for BDS delivery. We want to contribute to government agenda, especially for import substitution and some of the related policies of BUBU and ETC. And so this is mainly what we are doing in terms of the products. In terms of now the loan products, I think there are 2 or 3 main products, because I mentioned that we facilitate local production and value addition. And we do that through some instruments. One of them, we have an agro input product, because we realized that farmers are facing a problem of access to quality inputs. And so we started this product, and we have a network of certified agro input dealers under there. And so one can be sure of accessing quality agro inputs via our agro input loan product, so that you can increase your production and productivity, which eventually would lead you to accessing better markets for your export. We also have a very nice product called structured finance product. This product combines aspects of invoice discounting. We have forward contract financing under there, and warehouse receipt financing. So these are the products which we want our audience to come and take advantage of, because they allow you to access credit to engage in production without necessarily having tangible collaterals. You can imagine having stored your produce or your goods, and you have a receipt that represents the value of the goods stored, and you can access credit up to around 80% of the value of the goods as per the receipt that you carry. The other product I would talk about is not a product per se, the conventional product people are used to, but these are financial facilitation mechanisms that still allow companies to access our financial services. Not only that, but that facilitation mechanism allows such beneficiary companies to undergo a minimum of 6 months incubation to a level where we can term you as investment ready. And these mechanisms, this is how they work. We started developing this product in the context of COVID. If you are an SME engaged in a certain value chain, we onboard you as you are. If you could have heard of people buying assets and they say this asset is up for sale and you will buy it as is. So under this facilitation mechanism, we onboard SMEs as they are. And then the purpose for incubation for 6 months is to make sure that we still subject you to our BDS support, which is a non-financial facilitation mechanism. And what do we do within the 6 months? Within the 6 months, we make sure that you have an understanding, an appreciation of where you want to take your company in the next 5 or 10 years. So we talk of the development, participatory development process of a business plan, because you need a business plan. You need to know where you are headed. And you need to know how to adjust the business plan in the face of changing dynamics. For example, if COVID came and a new opportunity arose for business, one should be able to quickly align themselves to such emerging opportunities. And that's what we do under the non-financial facilitation mechanism. Within that mechanism, we also make sure that the company's internal financial structure and management structure is strengthened so that you are able to have records which you yourself appreciate, because you need to know whether the profitability is there, whether sustainability is there. You need to be able to advise and support the auditors when they come up. And so we make sure that your internal governance and financial management structures and systems are strengthened enough for the subsequent interventions to happen, like audit, like preparation of financial statements, etc. And we also advise on putting in place a proper marketing and branding strategy under the 6 months of incubation. And then we believe that by the end of 6 months, a company should have been ready to engage in anything, local production, value addition activities, including scouting for markets for export. And so these are mechanisms that we also subject our companies to make sure that they become investor ready. And when they are ready, then they will access credit, and the credit that they access is subsidized. We developed this mechanism with our international partners, so much so that if we approve the product, say of an amount of 100 million, this amount is subsidized by our partners by 25%, so that you can now be talking of exposure from MSC to the company. An exposure would now be 75 million. And then we'll sign a contract. Approved is 100 million, but the repayment will be based on 75% because of the subsidization. And when along the way you get a challenge as you do your work, you get a challenge and, for example, COVID shows up or any other period comes and you are not able to generate enough cash flows for yourself and also to repay MSC, we also have a cash flow financing gap that you can take advantage of for a maximum of 2 months as you make yourself ready to start paying back. Once that money comes, it replenishes the fund, and then we continue operating as we advise. We have asset financing facilities. One can access a production asset facility also under our products, which then they can use to generate products for export. So these are some of the interesting products. We have so many more, but relevant to this forum, I thought I would talk of those. And maybe to conclude here, we have the Islamic financing product, which I really want the audience to come and take advantage of. Islamic financing product, as you may know, abhors interest, so you will not talk of interest. There are mechanisms where we partner with you, or not even partner with you, but help you access some production assets that will help you into your production and export activities. So these, we have the fund that will allow you to engage in production and export. And we would like that the audience comes and explores some of these. We have financed so far since we started in 2015, 195 projects with close to our 43 billion shillings. But we still don't see many more people coming to take advantage of these products. Maybe because the training support has not been much, but going forward, we are going to be organizing trainings. Please make sure that when you see our advert for training, you come and participate so that you understand how the products work. So you can access leasing product under Islamic finance, financial and non-financial leasing. You can access production asset product as a one-off financing. You can access the agricultural product and also trade product under the Islamic financing arrangement. Under the conventional financing, our interest rates, they beat any one commercial or financial institution in the market because our interest rates range from 9% to 17% per annum. And these are calculated on declining balance method. So you can be sure that you will access the best rate so that your bottom lines can be assured to be better and appetizing. So for now, Bwana Moderator, I think that's what I would like to share. But one last thing, also to inform the audience, MSC is now implementing a very big and special program, presidential initiative on job and wealth creation, a program that was initiated by His Excellency and launched last year, 2019 in August. And the aim is to make sure that the 68% of Ugandans who have been in the shadow economy, outside the money economy, can be assisted also to join, to be financially included. We improve their incomes and enhance their livelihoods. This is a very big program, and we request the audience to also be on the lookout and participate. We are going to be running mobilization campaigns in Kampala starting next week, and we could also look out and help our Ugandans to participate as we fight poverty together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. That was a mouthful and very exciting. I think the participants have listened to you very attentively. And in case you have any questions to pose to James, please proceed. You can put it either on the question and answer section, or you can put it in the chat. I'm following closely. For the members' information, my Uganda Export Promotion Board and the Microfinance Support Center, we are both on Nakasero Road. So when you drop in there, you can actually hit, you can be attended by both of us. We're very close. Okay, let me just see somebody has posted something. Can you get the contact of Mr. Muhwezi? Yes, this one will be shared. But Muhwezi, probably you can just type your details there for members.
It's right there.
Right. Any other? Let me just see.
This is also on WhatsApp.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, James. We are very happy. That was a very, very fantastic presentation.
Most welcome.
And the people in Lira, since we're in Lira at this material time, they need to jump on exports. We need to get the 68% on board.
Yes.
At this time, members, allow me invite Diana to take us through what she has for us. Diana, are we together?
Yes,
Diana,
I'm praying that you can hear me a lot better now.
Oh, that is very, very clear.
Okay, since we don't have too much time with the network, I will just jump into what I feel is most critical to share with the team and the exporters that are gathered, because I know that there's been a lot of drive from government. The public is aware that we have funding that the government has availed us to pass on to them. I thank my previous discussants, because most of the things that you brought out are the things that we actually also require. I just wanted to go through what our actual requirements are, and as I do so, explain in brief the relevance in terms of financing in relation to exports. I don't know whether you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we are hearing you. We are hearing you. There's some background
You're
noise.
hearing me?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can hear me. So
yes, we are hearing you.
I'll just go through what is currently required by us to finance exports, but as I do, I will also explain the relevance of those things in relation to preparing you for being ready for exports with one stone, as I do, and then I will share briefly about what products we have available that would support them. I'm hoping that if I stick to that, because that's the most critical aspect, it could spill over for them to be able to have the questions that they have answered. So at the moment, there are different things that we require. Of course, if you're going to do exports, you need to be supported by or some institutions. You need to be. That means you need to have memoirs and articles in place. If you're just starting up and you're working as an individual, you can still get financing, but it's always safer to work as a business. Let the business be independent of you as an individual, because there's a difference in terms of you as an individual and the business. So get the business registered. If you want proper funding, they will need you to have a registered business that's requesting for it independently. So have memoirs and articles. We need those things. Certificate of incorporation. We need you to be compliant with the tax bodies. Get yourself organized, because if you're not compliant with the tax bodies, you will not export, because you're going to be exposed. So make sure you're compliant with the relevant tax bodies and get your tax clearing certificates in order. Have operating licenses in order. If you're not, you need to have an export license to export. So you need to find out how that can be bought and process it. Then I talked earlier on about audited books of accounts and why they are relevant. I highlighted that you needed to get it from a CPA registered auditor. In terms of security, if you want to access financing, you need to have maybe contracts in place. If you want to export to another country, discuss things like how they want to pay you, get it documented, so that you have documents like in packaging list, understand all those things. If not, get in place how to make sure that are prepared and they're organized for the
business to run. So management is very critical in regards to preparing for export promotion, because your team needs to be technically sound. Many businesses in Uganda have people in management who are close relatives or maybe someone that they trust. But to do exports, you need someone technical in your business. You can't just do it the way you're running it here. If you're doing it locally, you need just people you trust, because the market here is normal. Exporting means you have to have someone who knows how to review and understand international contracts, to interpret the terms that are there, interact with your financial institutions, because they will be able to support you. UDB will give free advisory services. So in regards to starting off, we would be able to guide you in terms of how to make sure that the contracts are ready, what documents are required from you. The person buying might say, I want an invoice, a packaging list, I want to buy by letter of credit. You need to have somebody in your how international business works. So if you want to go export, you need to prepare for that, and management and staffing is very, very, very critical in regards to that. So people who want to buy from you, get things like contracts, document things, because in Uganda, if you sell your product, someone doesn't, but you can go to his business and shout, or take him to the high court. If it's a Chinese who has bought, or someone in Israel or Russia who has bought your SIM, and you don't have documentation, you're not covered, where will you start from to go there and sell? So get some of these things in order. Make sure the management is there, someone who knows how the business works is there. If you don't want to employ someone, have a consultant to work with who can give you advisory services in relation to managing the export wing of your business. So I felt that was something we needed to pick on as you prepare. It's not about money and export. You need to know, you need to have a technical mind that supports that wing of the whole game in how it works. Yeah, you need to have a proper business plan that entails. The previous speaker talked about having a business plan in place. In Uganda, you can have a business profile for exports. Have a proper business plan. What is your strategy to reach Japan? What's your strategy to reach Israel? There are different markets, so their dynamics are different. Understand how they work in those countries and structure your plan to suit that. Your exports, your business plan should have exports in it, but also how a proper strategy for how to reach those specific markets and how they currently work. So I think that is very critical for those particular aspects. In terms of how you're going to operate, when people ask you to start supplying to them, usually people who buy from out of Uganda, they want consistency in quality and consistency in supply. So to ensure consistency in quality, who is going to be giving you? If let's say, if you're a manufacturer, you probably have a standard, I don't want to call it a recipe, but what you use to make the product is standard. But for people who supply, let's say, want to export agricultural commodities, flowers, vegetables, things like that, it's very critical that you have a consistent quality. So you need to know that the local market in Uganda, this green pepper will eat it. They want a specific quality to be exported. So you need to find a way to ensure you have a consistent supply in terms of volume, but also to have a consistent quality available for you to supply. Other things that very critical maybe are like packaging, knowing how the business goes, understanding the market. Then you need to partner with financial institutions to support you in terms of managing that. Like trade finance instruments, learn how to use trade finance instruments because they put you
Then as is muted. Diana, you have muted yourself.
Yeah. We'll do it next week.
Yes, hello team. Sorry, there were a bit of hiccups, but I propose the following. The presentation on financing by Microfinance Support Center and the Uganda Development Bank is very, very important for our operations in the export development and promotion. And based on that, we shall have a similar session next week at a date that we shall communicate, so that we have a fully fledged presentation with the PowerPoint presentations for us to actually make the best use of our time and the information shared. On that note, allow me, for purposes of managing time, allow me get to the next presenter, that is on logistics and handling exports by Stella from Uganda Export Promotion Board. Stella, are you there? And probably Stella, before you come in, I hope members are okay with the proposal that we have just put forward. That proposal, I think I will be checking on the comments later from members, but we are proposing, because of the importance of this, we shall have a presenter, we shall reorganize, we shall organize another presentation to this team, and the Uganda Development Bank and the Microfinance Support Center will give us a presentation on that day. We shall communicate that accordingly. Stella, can you proceed, please?
Good morning. Michael, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, yes, you are clear, loud and clear.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stella Aikoru Masiga, and today I'll be taking you through distribution in the export business. You're all welcome. Our content today will feature distribution in exports in general, the modes of transport for shipping for export orders, the export procedures and documentation, packaging requirements for transportation for export, and how you can quickly offset your shipping costs in case they are higher than that of your competitor. One of the most critical things that an exporter or someone aspiring to join the export business is your distribution channel. You clearly have to define your mode of distribution. That is, are you going to use direct exporting, indirect, licensing, joint ventureship, manufacturing abroad, or foreign assemblies or management contracts? You need to clearly define that, and that will help you understand or help you select the right method or the right channel of distribution. So in short, what is distribution in export business? It refers to the means or mechanism through which your products or goods reach the final buyer in the market. So quickly, what criteria do you need to choose What criteria do you need to choose while selecting your distribution channel? One, you need to focus on the nature of product. The nature of product, that is those that have long shelf life or those that are perishables like the fruits and vegetables. Clearly, it's advisable if you're doing perishables, you focus on air transport. But if you're doing non-perishables, you can focus on road or rail or water. Then you also need to look at the cost of the distribution channels, compare all of them, and you choose the most reliable and the most affordable for you. The reliability, how available is this distribution method or transportation or agent that you're using, how reliable are they? The effectiveness, the convenience, how easy is it for you to handle business with them? Quickly, it's very important for you to also understand that your staff need to have knowledge about export procedures, and documentation. In reality, an export exercise is concluded successfully only after the exporter has delivered the consignment in accordance to the export contract and has received full payment. Here is a small chart, a hierarchy of the distribution process in export business. Up here, you will see customer, distributor, or sales agent, depending on the distribution strategy you have chosen, will request for a quotation. This quotation will come, this request will come to the export department. The export department will now break down the specifications of the request, the cost, and draw down the products exactly how the client wants them. Quickly, the marketing department will forecast how the future is in terms of pricing, in terms of everyone who, in terms of market, in terms of clients that might grow in future, and then clearly draw the sales terms for the product. Then the finance department will outline the payment terms, the credit checks, the credit closing, and then the bid bond. Then the manufacturing will look at the cost of the input, of how much you will need to produce or get the consignment, and then the delivery process and the delivery of the goods to the final user. So the export department will fully consolidate. The export department will fully consolidate the input in a quotation. And then finally, the customer, the distributor, or sales agent will get the pro forma, and the pro forma we clearly know is after the final agreement has been signed and the goods are being delivered to the final user. So quickly, let's look at the export documentation. Let's look at the export documentation. It's very crucial that the exporter understands the number of documents that are needed to complete the export process and reach your goods quickly, safely, and without any problems to the final user. And these documents normally look at the details of sale, the shipment, and the responsibility. The shipment and the responsibilities of all the parties that are involved in the export business. Some of these documents include invoices and related documents. Before you do an export, you need to have a pro forma invoice. The pro forma invoice is a quotation that is sent to the buyer by the seller, entailing the details of the goods, the specification, the pricing, and the delivery mode. This This gives the buyer an opportunity to review the document, to review the specification, and in any case, if an import certificate is required, they'll start looking around for it. Then the commercial invoice. This invoice is sent with the consignment to the buyer, and it entails the size, the pieces, the weight, and the details of the goods that have been sent. Then a packing list. A packing list simply entails what has been packed in the consignment and if it matches with what is in the commercial invoice. The certificate of origin. This is only issued by URA, and we can say that this is a passport to your products. Mr. Pech, are you getting me? Are you getting me now? Is it okay? Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone can hear me? Okay. I was at the certificate of origin. I said this is issued by URA, and this is clearly the passport to your product. It shows the origin, where it comes from, and this also helps you while your goods are in transit. There is also the consular invoice. This applies to specific countries. For instance, Egypt. Before you export to Egypt, you have to get a consular invoice from the embassy, the Egyptian embassy. So it's very important you understand the rules, the regulations, and the costs that come with these consular invoices. Two, the shipping documents. One of the documents you need during your shipping is a consignment note or inland bill. This one is issued by the carrier to the shipper for taking the goods from the warehouse to your point of embarkation. It clearly states where the products have been gotten and to where they are going to be removed or going to be uploaded for export. Then the air bill. The air bill works just like the consignment note. However, this one is for air transport, while consignment note is for roads. Then there is customs bill of entry. It is the declaration by the exporter of the exact nature, value, and quantity of goods. There is also the declaration by the exporter. This is also a declaration of the exact nature. Sorry, repetition. There's specific documentation that is required for export, and this is skewed towards particular products like hides and skins. These products, metals, wild animals, drugs for human and animal medicine. For instance, if you're doing human and animal medicine, you must get a specific permit from a National Drug Authority. There is the certificate of origin. I talked about this. It's issued by URA. It states the origin of the product, enables advantage for duty-free provisions under different trade agreements like the East African trade agreements. There is the upcoming intra-Africa free trade area. So it's important that you understand some of these agreements so that your certificate of origin can quickly help you. There is certificate of insurance. This one clearly indicates the type and risk covered while in transit, just in case something happens to your products. There is a certificate of inspection. Some customers require a pre-shipment or inspection to own requirements or local regulations require them to have certificates of inspections. These ones also help you to quickly get the FITO if your products are inspected. Is an import or order permit. It is a confirmation from the buyer permitting importation of a given product. This works with countries that do not permit particular products or specific products for entry into their market. So the buyer will get the import order accepting you to bring the product into that country. The phytosanitary certificate. This one is issued by Ministry of Agriculture, and it's an official declaration stating the plant and plant materials are free from pests and diseases and are deemed right for consumption. And some of the examples are coffee, cocoa, seeds, fruits and vegetables, flowers and cuts. There's a fumigation certificate. It is proof that products have been sterilized, like the arts and crafts, wooden crates. This will gauge the temperature under which the materials have been made, if they are safe, if they don't have crawling things. There is also the UNBS certificate. It is proof that your product has undergone scrutiny and conforms to the standards set. It's very important to look at documents that are needed for your export. However, there's also factors to consider when determining which documents are needed for particular shipments. One is a country of origin and destination, as well as the countries of transit. Country of origin, different countries require different certificates for entry of your product. The destination also matters. It will show whether you'll use an air bill or the consignment note or something like that. The type of transport. What will you be using? Will you be using water? Will you be using air or road? It will determine the kind of documentation you will need. Then the type of commodity. It will also determine what kind of documentation you require. For instance, if you're doing plants and livestock, you will need documentation from Ministry of Agriculture. Then parties to the transaction is also one of the things that determines how or which documents you need in your export process. It's also important for you to understand the information that is needed or needs to be included on these documents. One is the name and address of all parties, that is the buyer, the seller, and any other party involved. Origin point and destination point, your port of load and unload, your description of the goods that you're uploading, that is the weight, the size, the specification, the units, the cartons, then the number of pieces, the net weight, the gross weight, and the volumes that you're exporting, the invoice number, and the date. Quickly, we look at the modes of transport for shipping for export. There are majorly 6 international modes that are recognized, and they include road. We are very aware of road transport. It's flexible in terms of tracking shipment, and it's cheaper than air transport. There is air transport. It's quick delivery, especially for perishables. There is rail. It's cost effective and efficient. However, our rail network in Uganda is not clearly defined, so you need to choose a mode that is comfortable for you. Then there is water and sea. It is low cost and can carry high capacity and is good for non-perishables. Then there is pipeline. This is features best for oil. For those planning to join oil, it's good for you to understand this mode. Then there is finally the multi-mode, where you're using more than one of the above modes, and many times most companies or most exporters will use multi-mode. From here to the airport, it's road, and then from there, it's air. So you need to understand the modes of reaching your goods to your final clients clearly. The decision to take on a transport mode should entirely depend on these factors below. One is security, and that is protection from partial or full damage of your product. Like I've noted, it is riskier on the sea. You need to also look at the transport cost. How much is the mode of transport you want to take, or what are the variables you're looking at? What are the aspects you're looking at? If the transport cost is high, are you able to mitigate it? So you have to clearly look at the transport cost. You have to look at availability of the mode that you're choosing, of all the modes that are available. Look at the reliability and service regularity. That is clearly the speed and urgency. Then you also have to look at the nature of your goods. Perishables, like we said, they are easier and better to use air transport. And the non-perishables, say if you're within, it's easier to use road transport. You also have to look at the size and the weight of your goods. Keep in mind that goods that have heavier weight, bulkier, attract more costs. So you have to also consider that. Look at the urgency associated to delivery. How quick does your buyer want you to deliver the product? How many times in a week? In what amount does he want them? And then it will help you choose the quickest mode or the most comfortable mode to export your product. What is the location of your overseas buyer? If, let's say, your buyer is in the EU, definitely you will use air. That is for perishables. If your buyer says in Kenya, it's easier to use road transport because it is cheaper. However, you have to put into consideration the safety and how quick your goods go bad. Then the terms of sale of contract. In your contract, it clearly states how the goods will be delivered to the final buyer, how much the freight charges are. Quickly, let's look at packaging requirements for transportation. Before your products reach the final buyer in your pack house or your industry, you have to package your goods safely for export. And there are 4 key problems, potential problems you have to keep in mind when designing an export shipment. One, you have to look at breakage while in transit, the moisture that your goods or products attract. Pilferage. Pilferage is theft during transit, and excess weight. You have to look at that because each of them will attract a charge. What are the guidelines to prepare for packaging? Pack your goods in strong containers, adequately sealed and filled when possible. Then to provide proper bracing in the container, regardless of the size, make sure the weight is evenly distributed. That is, not one side is heavier than the other. It will lead to damaging of your products. Goods should be palletized and when possible containerized. I think we can all see this picture on the right. That below there is a pallet. Packages and packing filler should be made of moisture resistant material. Look at that on the picture still. To avoid theft, please insure your product against theft. Other safeguards include using shrink wrapping. Observe any product specific hazardous materials packing requirements. For instance, if you're exporting hazardous materials or products, you need to understand and study the requirements for transportation of these materials. In the event your costs are higher than those your transportation costs are higher than those of your competitors. What are you supposed to do? One, you can negotiate with multiple carriers. This gives you an opportunity to see different prices, to see how much each is charging, what are the terms and conditions. It helps you make a fair decision after you have gauged. Two, get suppliers to use your shipping account number. It's normally it's normally noted that when various suppliers or users use one account number, you quickly get discounts of your shipments. Then three, use packaging provided by your carrier. If you use your own packaging, you could attract dimensional fees. But if you use packaging by the carriers, they come in different sizes. They can quickly offset some of the charges because you have used their packages. Then consider hybrid services. Hybrid services are cheaper in terms of one company does everything for you. They warehouse your goods, they transport the goods to the nearest port, they will do customs clearance for you all in one go. And these companies normally cooperate with different services companies to actually carry out this for you. And it becomes easier on your side, it reduces the workload and also is cheaper. Then go prepaid. It is said when you pay in advance, some carriers offer good discounts for your shipment because you have paid you have paid forward. They say money now is better than money in future. So some carriers consider this. So it's very important that if you have the money readily available, you prepay for the service. So that was it from me. Thank you. Welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stella. That was a mouthful. And I think, well, first of all, Stella has put that our contacts there. It is important for your members to know that UEP, Uganda Export Promotion Board, is on second floor, UEDCL Towers, Road 37, Nakasero Road. Actually, we are near Microfinance Support Center as well. The landline is there, the mobile number is also there, and our email is there. So let's engage, let's keep in touch. I am just trying to check, are there any people who have issues to raise or questions to put forward? I'm trying to check here.
Yes, I have.
Oh, yes, Sarah, please.
My question relates to maybe more of the future, about the future of Uganda Airlines and export promotion. Is there any clue you can give us as of now? Because I understand that Uganda Airlines is getting some more long-haul planes, especially like some of the destinations could be in the UK. Is there any information you can give us about that?
Thank you very much, Sarah. That's a very, very good question. It is timely. As you are aware, Uganda Airline had collapsed, and the government has taken the initiative to revive it. And as we speak, it has already been revived, and the plans are there to actually get into having cargo planes as well, and as well as opening new routes. So that is an engagement which is ongoing. We shall, one of these days, actually organize another Zoom meeting where we shall bring Civil Aviation Authority and the Uganda Airline to come and give us their detailed plans. But for sure, looking at the future, the issue of having cargo, which actually the happening of COVID has actually brought more light to the need to have cargo planes, because if you look at countries that have airlines and have cargo planes, they were in full business, although we were also using some of these airlines. But as a country, that is something we are looking at very, very seriously. But as I've also promised, we shall have another session, because when we engage like this, there are a few things that emerge that we need to follow up. So that is something that we shall work on and engage on it. Thank you very much, Sarah. Yes, any other issue to be raised? Right, I think Stella was very comprehensive. Thank you very much, Stella. At this time, can I have Brenda to take us through company staff competencies and skills in exports? And before Brenda's came, somebody said, thank you for the good session. I am right, great. Brenda, you said, okay. So if you looked at the previous engagements, there's somebody who raised the issue of microfinance support center, the leader office being covering Northern. I think that is true. The leader office is covering, because you see, it is a gradual process, and a number of these offices are located strategically across the country. And for the one for leader, in terms of microfinance support center, it is covering Northern Uganda, so you can walk in there. But you can also actually link up with your district commercial officers, district production officers, to get more information on what is happening in their respective districts and regions. Somebody asked about the contact of James from Microfinance Support Center. He gave the number there. For those who didn't see it, the number is 0783 207 275. For the presentations that we have had today, we shall share them. And when we have a follow-up Zoom for financing, the same will be done. Right, Brenda, are you set for us? Brenda, are you there?
Yes, Michael, I'm there.
Right, thank you. So we are getting a presentation from Brenda, that is from Uganda Export Promotion Board by Brenda, on company staff, competencies and skills in export management. Brenda, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Michael. Good morning, our dear participants, and thank you so much for your commitment to walk with us the journey in these 2 days. I hope you can all see my presentation. Michael, can you see my presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Sorry, I'll just, okay. So today I'll speak to you about the competencies that any company, competencies and skills that any company in exports should have. Sorry. So if you recall in our questions that we were in the assessment that we raised with you, one of the issues we were asking about is staff competencies. And here, what we're trying to address is, what does one need to actually run an export business? What kind of personnel? What are their roles? And what are their competencies, so that they are able to do the work? Now, my content or the presentation I'll have today will involve the roles of an export manager, and what these roles include: negotiation of contracts, handling export correspondences and documents, handling information on international markets, and finally, it's important for them to have specific skills. So going straight to my first slide, what are the roles of an export manager?
One, which is very key, is about contract negotiations with foreign buyers. Not only foreign buyers or importers, but also the distribution agencies that you'll be working with. Like you all appreciate, you are not in the market. Someone else may be doing this work for you. Or you want to set up and have an office running there, but you can't be there all the time. So we have that kind of arrangement. So your export manager should be able to handle such assignments. Secondly, export correspondences. These are quite a number. You may have bid requests, you may have to collect credit, and so on, the different emails from different buyers, all this. Then next is the export manager also does a lot of export supervisory role, mainly to do with logistics and documentations, like Stella spoke about. Then we go into the arranging the shipments and moving the products. Now, usually export managers also, because they do a lot of promoting and marketing of your product, they are involved in preparation of the different promotional materials or manuals that you want to use in the different markets. And finally, they also expedite the arrangements of the different flows in terms of information flows in terms of tariffs, licenses, and different restrictions. So my presentation today really is to just emphasize these roles and what is the detail in each of the 6 that I've spoken about. On the aspect of negotiation of contracts, export transactions involve a number of contracts. You have contracts with your buyers on issues to do with the order specifications, the timeliness, the issues to do with payment terms, and so on. So normally we encourage our exporters to have contracts. And we have seen, because of many of us not taking this seriously, we have big issues with people who do not have any proper documentation with their buyers. We have cases, one of my colleagues will talk about this, we have cases of people who have supplied genuinely because they have had good discussions with this buyer, and eventually their payment never comes through. Now, when you ask them documentation, contracts, what was your agreement, evidence of all these transactions, they hardly have anything apart from the emails and WhatsApp messages they used. Now, this is a big challenge in exports. So we always mention and always encourage that as soon as you get involved in exports and you have a genuine buyer, or you have a buyer that you're discussing with, always contact your legal people to look at an agreement. Now, because you're dealing with different countries, they have different, legal clauses and so on, which as lay people we may not understand. But the lawyers will understand this. So we always recommend that as you do any of these contracts, please involve a legal mind. Okay? So the other documentation is on freight. You're going to hand over your products to a logistics company or to an airline. What is the arrangement? What are the specifications of this arrangement? So in a contract, you would have, or in a kind of agreement, you would have these details. Now, when some of you see the word contract, you imagine this big document with all this legal jargon and so on. No, this is not necessarily what it is, but it's evidence to show that you have an arrangement and the terms that this arrangement are binding this arrangement are clearly stipulated. The other issue is on storage, insurance, and then there are different other specific provisions depending on your transaction that you need to take note of. And then, of course, there are different requirements across in the different countries. So contracts bring all this together in one document, which all of you sign and agree to. Okay. So use a legal mind. They know what to do during this time, even when the person is so far away. Certain things are agreeable as evidence in court and so on. So we encourage that you do contracts. So your export manager should be able to handle this kind of work. The next issue is on correspondences and documentation. Anybody in the export manager role will have a lot of communication that they'll have to do, with the different importers, with the different other suppliers that you'll be dealing with. So you have to have somebody who is aware of some of these different areas. Correspondences, what does this involve? By identification, orders, shipping and bookings, transit details, the payment process, the banks. So your export manager should be able to fit in and do all these different roles. The shipping documentations, that was handled very well with my colleague Stella. My other aspect that I want to highlight in terms of the roles of a manager is information about the market. Now, because many of our companies are still small, they are lacking in this area. But yet it's so important for you. So some of you don't know how to go about the statistics. How do I know that this market I'm getting into, my product is actually performing? How do I know the trends in that market? How do I know which activities I can get involved with? Maybe trade fairs and so on. How do I know how to promote myself? Now, you may not have all this information, but your export manager can reach out to institutions like ours, to institutions like Ministry of Trade. If you belong to associations, that's a good place to be for this kind of information. So that's why we encourage that you as exporters should be part of an association. If you're into manufacturing, you have OMA. If you're into fruits and vegetables, there are associations there. If you're into, the different coffee, there are different associations. So be part of that. And your objective is for you to get information about the different markets. Because remember, in an association, you are all focused on the same objective. And one thing we encourage our exporters is that in exports, you're not competitors per se. Why? Because the market is there and the market is big. We cannot, as individual exporters, actually satisfy the world market. No. But we can do it together. So when you associate, especially for export business, there's a lot of value for you. So such information you'd be able to get. So for other areas where you can get information, I've highlighted here the trade maps. Yesterday, one of my colleagues talks about this. It's a very important tool. It's a very good tool where when you go in there, you're able to actually see the performance of different countries. Uganda, which are your markets? What are your products? What are the products to the different markets? You know how the performance of the different years was. So the trade maps by ITC is a very good tool. In that tool also you are able to see export destinations and the potential. So that's another tool that we also encourage our exporters to get online and learn. As Export Promotion Board, we can also guide you and be able to show you the different potentials of either the markets you want to get into or the markets you're already in. So for any export manager, this should be top on their schedule of work. Trade fairs. In exports, this is how we promote ourselves. This is how we get buyers. Whenever you go for a trade fair, be as prepared as you can because you're talking to people who want your product. And trade fairs normally bring together all sorts of buyers from all over the world. So we encourage your trade managers to also look for such activities. As Export Promotion Board, that's one of the areas we facilitate our exporters to take their products to different markets. The way we do it, we either go with you as an institution and you're part of the team, and we attend these trade fairs, or we work with you to attend without our presence. And we'll link you, we'll ensure that you've booked your space and so on. Now, unfortunately, with COVID, in the COVID period now, with all this that is happening, some of these physical trade fairs are not happening. But thanks to the digital world, we are now online. We recently concluded one with Fruit, and what happened there, we had companies do short videos of their products, promoting themselves and telling, buyers about the profiles of their companies. So on the virtual platforms, these videos were used to share with the buyers. And after that, we had the B2B meetings. B2B meetings are business to business. So the importer on the other side and the exporter here were able to talk like we have this kind of meetings online. So that's how now the trade fair world has now changed to that kind of thing. We have virtual trade fairs. I could also mention the fact that we have some coming up soon. In November, we have something coming up for minerals. It will be in Rwanda, but it's virtual, so we can't be able to participate. We are trying to see if we can get companies interested to participate in that. Next year, there are a number of them. Currently, we are not yet sure if they will be physical, especially those for next year, but many of them will still be virtual. So for instance, we have the Intra-Africa Trade Fair coming up. This is a very important trade fair for you, our incoming exporters, especially the ones in agriculture exports and manufactured exports. Africa still wants a lot from us. So in this trade fair, we'll have different African countries participating. It is a trade fair that started, I think, 2017 or 2018. And we had the first one in Egypt. Now this is going to be the second. And it's supposed to be also in Rwanda. And we are encouraging our companies to fully get involved. The other aspect an export manager needs to work on is to ensure that he's in touch with key stakeholders. These should be part of his phone book, contacts in export promotion, contacts in National Bureau of Standards, contacts in MAIF, contacts in foreign affairs. And the other one, the one I call TPOs here, are trade promotion organizations. Now we have sister institutions or institutions of a similar setting in different countries, like Export Promotion Board. And these are normally helpful to work with you when you're looking for different players in their countries. So as Export Promotion Board, if for instance you want to export to Malawi and you are trying to find some more information about that, or you want to link with somebody in Malawi, you can contact us and we can be able to guide you on which people to work with. The other issue that is important, and this is my last slide, is about the skills. Now, as an export manager, there are certain specific skills that you should also have, apart from your qualifications, education, and so on. They are the soft skills, and these involve how you communicate. What do I mean here? Communication, for instance, on phone. If a buyer or an importer in country X is calling to speak to you and wants your product, how would an export manager or officer speak to them? So some of the things I'm highlighting here is the good command of English, okay? Or have other different languages that you can speak. This is an added advantage. Phonetics, that one I can't emphasize more. You know how people can be rude on phone and so on. So you need to be able to train and advise your export managers to be polite, because you never know who you're speaking to on the other side. You may lose a buyer just because your manager spoke very badly. So when we're speaking on training you, we encourage that you train your staff. You know, I know that small and medium organizations have a high turnover of staff. And normally when we are talking to them, they say, but I invest my money to train this person, and 6 months down the road, they have run away from me. Yeah, that is true. It happens a lot, not only in our export businesses, but in many other businesses, even in your homes. But you can't afford to have your company at risk by putting people on the front to speak to your clients who are not in command of the way they talk. So much as you may invest in them and they run away, I mean, thank you, God, that you have actually given value to this person and pick on the next. Okay, computer skills. I'll start with emails. We have a big problem with exporters. We send out emails and we don't get responses. People don't read their emails, and it's so strenuous when you're trying to reach people for very important information. You know, sometimes we'll send you questionnaires. We want your feedback so that we improve you, but you don't respond. Now, this is Export Promotion Board sending you an email. So what about a buyer? If you don't have email discipline, what does it mean? You know, so you can actually lose business by just that lack of proper email discipline. Then social media. Social media is a very good tool if you use it properly, but it can also be really bad if you don't use it properly. What do I mean? The content that you put on social media should reflect the kind of company you want to present to the world. Because the moment something goes out on social media, hundreds and millions of people across the world are actually looking at it. So be very careful what you put on social media. A lot of times we find ourselves, hurt by what we have actually put on social media. So whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, the pictures and so on, please first make sure that you have reviewed your content. We actually encourage companies to have policies, internally, how you should manage your social media. Because remember, that's a promotional tool. So if you're going to go there and present yourself in a very careless manner, be sure that you may not like the feedback. Okay? So we encourage that you pick up a discipline to actually review the content that you put and ensure that you put the right thing. We can guide you. We are also planning to do some trainings in this line so that companies are confident with what they put. Normally, when we are taking companies for trade fairs, we make sure that we review what they are going to do with their social media and promotional tools. So social media is a very good tool. You can get really good business, but the way you use it can build or destroy you. The other thing is analysis. Normally in exports, we need to do a lot of trade and market analysis. Why? Because you're comparing yourself to so many other countries across. Yeah. So you have to keep tabs with what is happening elsewhere. How is your product performing? Who are the other producers and how are they doing? Now, I've spoken about the tools that we normally use. Currently, there's a lot of work that has been done by different companies that do analysis. So you may not actually do it yourself, but it's always good to do it yourself because you are then able to develop information that is important to yourself. Okay, so whenever you're looking at marketing yourself, look at what's happening with your product in the different markets. Finally, it is the issue of negotiation skills. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for business. And this is one of the areas which will make or bring us business or fail us because we are not negotiating properly. Yeah, you could have a very good product and, you know, at a very good cost, but you lose the business. Why? Because you have not negotiated. In this area, I want to highlight a few things that you need to look out for. One, before you go into negotiating with any buyers, do some research. Okay? Do some research about these buyers, about the country they are in, and understand exactly what your product means to this buyer. So some people, we have, let me say a manufactured product here, which is probably an ingredient of another product in their country. So first understand. So once you have understood, then you have some confidence to discuss with the different importers. Because even when you're discussing with an importer and they realize that you're well informed, you know, then they will take you seriously. Okay. Then two, in exports, we encourage patience. Unlike the domestic business, where you walk into a supermarket and tomorrow you have an order, exports is not like that. It can take you 2 years to get an order. Okay, so as you start your journey in exports, don't expect it to be as quick as it is with a domestic market. Okay, so you may get to a trade fair and speak to 20 people. And you come back with expectation, you sit down, follow up emails and do all this, keeping, you know, talking to these buyers, sending them emails, and you don't get responses. And you think, anyway, it was a waste of money and so on. And 6 months down the road, then they begin communicating to you. So be patient. And that's why we say in exports, you need to invest your time and invest your resources with a mind that it won't come through as fast as you expect. Okay. The other thing is in negotiations, now we are doing it a lot on Zoom and so on, but sometimes you have to meet buyers. We have exporters who travel out there and spend 1-2 weeks with specific meetings for buyers. Now, when you're in that kind of meetings, your body language is very important. How you present yourself to these buyers is very important. Okay? It is part of your negotiation skills. So you need to be very careful how you react when somebody says, you know, you have produced your product, you think it's top of the range, you get there and this person is giving you a price that is even below your cost price. You know, don't show that he's saying nothing. Sometimes these people are so experienced and that's how they test the ground. But if you stand your ground because you know the quality and you push for it, then you'd probably at the end of it be able to. So your body language is very key in any kind of negotiation. The other aspect is about asking. Okay, ask as many questions as you want from an importer so that you also take a very confident position.
Oh, Brenda, you're off.
Sorry. I'm off.
Okay, you're back now.
I'm back. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, loud again.
Sorry about that. Okay, am I back now? Okay, good. So I was talking about the withdrawal strategically. Now, sometimes you're in a negotiation and you realize that it's a no-go area for you. Probably the offer is not coming through the way you want it, and you're not going to actually break through with it. So you could strategically withdraw and promise and say, okay, let me give you time, and then we can discuss maybe in another week or in another month. Once I'll also think about it. So what I mean withdrawing strategically, don't leave with a no-go. You know, it's something I can't do. I have closed and I don't want to be there, you know, and no, because you don't know what the future holds. This very person or this very company may be the one now looking for you tomorrow because of changes that have happened with them. So if you left them badly, they will not look for you. But if you withdraw and still showed that you can still work with them, it's just the current circumstances have not enabled it, tomorrow they'll be looking for you. So don't leave negotiations with a negative kind of taste in the other person's mouth. Live with a position where this hasn't happened now, but there's a future, okay? Then the other issue I wanted to highlight is that be sure what you want. Go in knowing how much discount you can give and how much you can't give. Go in also knowing that you can, sometimes our buyers want to change the kind of product you have. So go in sure that if this person wants me to change it this far, I can. Or if this person wants me to, you know, so know how far you can go with a product that you have. Because sometimes they want you to change packaging. Sometimes they actually want you to give them your product and they put their name, okay? So that the product now looks like their own, but you have done it here. I've seen it with, for instance, those who do dried fruits. The buyers want the pineapple from Uganda, dried and, you know, packed, but shipped. And they send you, some of them even send you a label to show that the product is theirs. You know, so you need to know, is that what I want for my product? Or I still want my name. It's my brand that I want to promote. Okay? So those are some of the things that as you get into negotiations and talking to buyers, any export manager should be able to do that. Okay, so if you're going to employ an export manager, please look out for that. As companies are still small, normally the owners or the directors in those companies are the export managers. So look out and make sure that you're able to do it with some of these skills and you know, qualifications in mind. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, that was my last slide. Thank you very much for listening, and I invite questions now.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for that presentation. I'm just checking the members if they have any questions to put forward or any clarification that they would like us to make. But from the look of things, it seems you have done a very good job because I'm basing on my comment on the reaction I'm trying to receive from members on the Q&A section and the chat. So once again, thank you very much, Brenda.
You're welcome, Michael. Thank you too. And have a nice afternoon.
Great. Now there are some questions that were raised, but probably before we go to the question and answer session, we have a presentation. We have a presentation from Noreen on the relationship between producers, exporters, and foreign buyers. So as we wait for Noreen to come in, the number of questions that had been raised that I think we shall address at an appropriate time. Joshua asked, what are some of the fruits and vegetable associations in Uganda? We shall answer that. Monica Mbaba said, on the contract on flight, what I have been doing is to send an email to the airline and they confirm booking with an airway bill. Is the airway bill not proof enough that we have entered into a contract? Good question, we shall answer that. Then I remember Rebecca also asked, where do we register on the line? Online, where do we register online for Microfinance Support Center support? James will guide us on that. Paul Livingston asked, what is needed for an SME to participate in the incubation phase? James will give us light on that. Catherine asked, kindly blow more light on the difference between UNBS certification and certificate of inspection. Yeah, Brenda will say something on that. These are, one is UNBS, one is if it is agriculture related product, it's from Ministry of Agriculture. Then Muzungu will say, thanks for the good work. As for prospective exporters, how do we get access to reliable markets? I have been supplying the exporting companies and I feel I am ready to serve the international market. I like this strategy. We shall also make comments and guide you on that. Noreen, are you set? Members can continue sending in their questions. And then we see how we proceed. I can see Noreen is on board now. Noreen, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you, moderator. My name is Noreen Kamot, working as a senior trade information executive. Very warm greetings to you all, the captains of the export ship, and thank you so much for embracing the new norm of participating in the virtual training. My presentation will be on the relationship between producers, exporters, and foreign buyers. And content would look at the introduction briefly, then pre-relationship planning and the role of Export Promotion Board, foundation fundamentals of business relationships, managing and coping with business relationships. Also look at the best practices in agriculture, which can be replicated in either manufacturing and the handcraft sector. And we'll have a conclusion. You are welcome. As a way of introduction, I want us to look, I hope we all see this picture, the diagram. And for us at the Export Promotion Board, we are saying export business is all about a relationship And you, the exporters, are very central when it comes to building, creating, developing, and maintaining this relationship. And we'll just look at some illustration, how central you are. You're looking at, and in the eyes of the importer and producer, they're looking at the relationship from you with the highest level of trust. You could see in the picture, I was trying to put a picture of a swarm of bees, in trust. They are bridging, two points, and they are believing, as bees, they are believing they can do it. And so in business, that is really expected, that trust. Then as the importer and producer, they expect low levels of conflict. And you could see the map because of, dissatisfaction. You see the map being, is being torn apart, meaning that when the relationship is not, built on trust, and then conflicts crop in, you find that there'll be a challenge. The business will either end with consequences. Then, as an exporter, the producer expects a high level of commitment. You could see that picture of a lady trying to get across a river full of water, but it is because of the commitment and because the lady sees that he has to connect to the crowd over, he's committed. So on the export journey, we expect a high level of commitment. And once that is done, you'll find that we'll achieve satisfaction, and we know that a happy customer is a reason for the existence of business, because you always have orders coming through. So as Export Promotion Board, we think it is part of our responsibility to prepare you in this business relationship. And we believe that once you're ready to go into this relationship, there will be a positive attitude towards the cooperation, which is necessary for the sustainability of the business. So at Export Promotion Board, we expect that you need to formalize your business through the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, because we believe you also want to get an equal partner who is legally registered. We also believe that you have to have a proper understanding of the company's needs towards the partnership. You as an exporter, what do you want in the relationship? And I'm glad that my colleagues have really, spoken about this so eloquently, so well. So as an exporter, what do you want to grow your business? But growing business does not start, it is one step at a time. So you understanding what you need will also help you understand how the importer or the farmer can be able to make you be in that business. It is also important that before you go into this relationship, you have to have knowledge about the farmers, even the foreign buyer. At Export Promotion Board, we work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because we only have one office in the country, but we have the coordination role. So we work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also embassies in Uganda, representing different countries. So we can help you in being able to understand the buyer you want to engage in. And also at national level, with our relationship, we are under Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. So we connect well with the district commercial officers. So with this, we should be able to help you understand the different, groups whom you can work with. We can support together so that they can be able to give you a product which will make your business relationship, be sustained. It is also important that your capabilities, and that's why Uganda Export Promotion Board has general export capabilities, the organizational, financial, production, all under our tool, the Export Readiness Checker, which you can check out to see you're getting into this relationship. Are you prepared? Because we believe that these competencies will then help you to reduce the potential transaction costs in terms of communication, in terms of movements, and enable you firm up on a situation-specific management relationship. So looking at them, we'll now look at the my next slide is about the fundamentals of business relationship. As already indicated, the trust, commitment, satisfaction, and managing conflict. As we look at trust is really fragile, delicate, and difficult to build. As you heard from my colleague Brenda, who was talking about, getting through a business, getting an order, it could take like, say, a year or so. But this can easily be destroyed or wasted. And we can give examples of cases we are reckoning with you, our exporters. We have about 3 cases, and these are very recent. One of our exporters received payment from an importer in Maldives in January, beginning of this year. But up to now, this importer has not seen any consignment through. So getting a business relationship takes a while, but you see how we can easily destroy. I'm not sure that now this importer has confidence in this exporter. And besides, as a country, we feel that this kind of practices, take the country back in terms of, country image. And also we could imagine if this exporter was able to fulfill the consignment that was in January, how many people, how many of our farmers would have benefited, leave alone how much as a country would have earned in that, in that deal. But unfortunately, this did not happen. But we are doing everything possible to ensure that, 1, we build the country image. 2, we also put up disciplinary measures for such practices. Because really at times we feel we are uncomfortable. We say, but our paper is going through Kenya. But with this kind of relationship, it will be easy for importers in the different countries. 1, they appreciate that. In terms of paper, we have the best paper. But getting it applied to them is a challenge. So what they will do is, the Kenyan, because for them they have exhibited some kind of trust, the buyers will contact the Kenyan suppliers, who then come to Uganda to pick our paper and then export. But we strongly believe that we should, you and us, we should work against that, ensuring that once we get business, we should be able to fulfill the orders. Another pillar, second pillar, is commitment. And commitment is the sense of unity, which is binding the exporter and its overseas buyer, as well as the supplier. Commitment involves the development of a close and valued, I want you to take that seriously, valued relationship. You value your exporter, you value the importer, and at the same time value the supplier, because without the 2 parties, you cannot be able to export. Then it also requires stability and sacrifice, which are really essential in as far as commitment is concerned. Once there's that stable and need for sacrifice, you see that you have the commitment which produces the feeling of strong regard for honor for the relationship. And in French, they call it, you having the feelings of affiliation and esprit de corps. That means that your feelings are of high regard and you pride in having that relationship. And for us, once you have that, of course, in case there's anything between that relationship, you'll be able to resolve it because you value it. Then, in terms of commitment, we also look at the bonding, because once you have that strong commitment, you should be able to bond. You should be able to bond easily with the partner. And this is really because once you bond, it is difficult for us to separate. It's indispensable. And therefore, the business is bound to succeed. And then another key element or fundamental in building business relationship is satisfaction. Because both of the parties are looking at, at the end being satisfied. Because, for example, if you're sourcing from farmers, they're looking at being paid, isn't it? They're looking at being paid. And then once they're paid, they'll be motivated and they will continue doing their work. They'll be closer to their garden to ensure that they give you the product you want. And then when it comes to you supplying consistently and the quantity in terms of quality, quantity, the buyer will be satisfied because they know they'll be able to satisfy their customer, meaning that they will be able to increase their sales, and therefore they will look at you as a supplier for them to maintain their supply chain. It is also viewed that satisfaction is also viewed as, channel which once customers are satisfied, once all parties are satisfied, it means that all will participate collectively in all activities, and there will not be tendencies of the parties exiting the relationship because they know it is beneficial. I'll just show you, how a key fundamental of conflict which has to be managed. I think we can all see that this rich American, whoever, went to the supermarket and then found the shelves are empty. That can be a source of conflict because we have not yet delivered, we have not honored our arrangement, have not delivered. So the goals of the importer are really, are impeded because he cannot satisfy the supply, the customers. They come and he's saying, I'm waiting for delivery from Uganda, but for people who want to consume. And more so, we are known for, much as most of our products are not organically certified, but the taste alone, without the certification, still puts us at an advantage. So, this in the end, once we have our shelves empty because we have failed to deliver, it brings a challenge to the importer. And then they might switch to alternative supplies because for them they're in business and really they want continuity. We look at managing of a business relationship. The exporter, we are in Uganda, and the importer is in Maldives, meaning that we all depend on each other. The exporter and the importer depend on each other. And besides, also the farmer depends on the exporter, also depends on the farmer. Otherwise, then he will not be able to have the produce. So that's why we emphasize that this dependence role is very important and it's a catalyst for creation of business relationship. Because one, we need each other and we need the resources of each other for us to do business. Then we also look at the role. One of the other important aspects of managing a relationship is the performance. I'm glad that most of the areas which are the responsibilities of the exporter have been discussed in the previous papers. For example, you as an exporter, your role is to ensure that you procure the right product in the right quantity and ensure that you do all the paperwork, necessary to have the product shipped from Uganda to the final destination. And as an exporter, we are employing you to look at what is the performance of the industry average, because fruits and vegetables is a very, very core, sector. And besides, now with the setting in of COVID and knowing that one of the treatment to this, or to minimize or to improve immunity, is by us eating well. And since we are known that as a country we supply, quality chemical-free products, I think we really need to upscale on our performance to ensure that we are able to deliver a product in this right quantity, and also time and cost. As well put yesterday by my colleague who was talking about planning, that there is need for us to balance quality, quantity, and time delivery, and so that we are able to be competitive. Then how do we cope with relationships? Because as a country, because when we talk of our export performance as a country, it is you, the captains of the export ship, which bring to us the figures. So meaning we would really, really want to support you in nurturing your relationship so that it is well managed. And we know pillars of the relationship management include knowledge, and at Uganda Export Promotion Board will be able to share. My colleagues have been providing information about how you do trade analysis, identifying buyers, participating in trade fairs. For us, we believe knowledge is very core in supporting you cope with your business relationship. Then the aspect of governance. My colleague Brenda has been articulated the role of a key person in the export farm. We know that our companies are still small. So in most cases, you find that the managing director does the role, multitasks, which is fine. But at times when they delegate, it is very important for them to know whom they have delegated and for what, on what responsibility. So that at the end of it all, much as you're a small company, but you contribute to the export performance, to what we export. So we wouldn't want you to think you're too small. You're very important. And as the commissioner yesterday put it, it's you who make our economy, you who drive our economy. So you're very key central in terms of helping us maintain relationship at company level, which then builds up to us maintaining relationship at country level. The aspect of bonding and problem solving is very, very important, and this can be done through an information sharing. In case there's a challenge, share with us information at Export Promotion Board. We can be able to guide, and you as the person at the center, you are the exporter as the driver of all this relationship. We expect you to have effective communication. And that's where the issue, and with IT, there's really, really, an advantage to take, you can take advantage of the IT to be effective in terms of communicating instantly. Because when you receive an email, I believe that should be instant. You should be able to give a feedback, at least acknowledge your receipt of any communication from your potential buyer. If a supplier, say a farmer in Kangumina of pineapples, calls you, maybe you promised that you will pay them after shipping. and then they're calling you. Have that courtesy of saying, maybe they have been delays, but will be able to, you receive your payment in a particular specific time. But that also creates the confidence we need in business and the trust. Other than one calling, the phone is off. As we speak now, the companies which have not yet delivered to the buyers in Maldives, Botswana. Yesterday, my colleague was telling me that we have another case, Botswana, and then another case has come in of United Arab Emirates. The buyers are telling us the phones are off. You know, the phones of our good exporters are off. So really, that creates, if there's a problem, then leave the communication channels open, other than switching off, because once you switch off communication, it has different implications. And maybe confirming that true, you were, you cheated, so really we need to up our game on how we can be able to improve our communication so that we can cope well with our relationship. And we are saying that exporters are not unilaterally, take it upon themselves that they're the ones responsible, or they're the ones who are wholly responsible for the relationship, because it has quite a number of responsibilities here and there. So we are saying the relationship should be shared in terms of communication, in terms of sharing information, so that at the end of it all, if there's a problem, it can easily be resolved because the communication channels are open. So we want to just bring to you an illustration of a model which we have seen. It has succeeded in different countries, as we see the export of agricultural products growing. And this is the model they have looked at. The first place, we will have the producer who feeds the exporting farms. Then the exporting farms sell to the foreign buyer. That is, that is one channel. We can have, it could be individual farmers who then supply or collectively come together and supply the exporting farms. And we believe that once these producers or suppliers continuously export or supply the exporting farm, there's a lot for them to learn in terms of quality, in terms of quantity, in terms of the maturity, in terms of cleaning, because they interact with you, the exporting farm. And with the time, this can grow into organized either cooperatives, which can then do the export directly. Why we encourage this is, for us, we are looking at the numbers. Because yesterday, if we could recall, the market is huge, as shared by the Commissioner, External Trade, Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. The market is in billions, but we are only doing, the market is in trillions, but we are only doing millions. So meaning that we really need to work closely with each other, so that once we have products, seen in the different markets, because that is increasing our visibility of our products. Because what we have also learned from especially the fruits and vegetables, is there is that spirit of not cooperating, thinking that, the market is mine and don't need to share information. But if I can go back to this example of an exporter who was paid in January, 16th January, over $4,000. If that exporter was not able to export, if they had other engagement, that was the opportunity of them working with others, with other farms, so that at the end, they're able to satisfy the buyer. Meaning the market is big. We just need to see how we work together, cooperate, and satisfy this market. And the more products we have, the more consumers in the different countries have access to our products, the more the products become popular. Visibility, as we see in the communication, in the communication industry. In the different markets, we want our products to be everywhere in the different markets. Like in UK, we would want our products to be in Speedfield, in the different, wholesale markets of the UK, so that, with that, the customers continuously have a taste without necessity. And that can only be attained if we work together and raise the volumes. So that's why at Export Promotion Board, we are calling upon you to really embrace, that relationship, the cooperation, so that we can be able to collectively, benefit from the different upcoming emerging markets. Maldives, they are looking at us for paper, but you see what we've done. I think with that, I think we seriously need to work together and be able to deliver the quantities, the qualities, because once you work in an organized group, in terms of scaling or supporting farmers improve, because at times the farmers, for them, they're ready to learn from us, the exporting farms, because we know what exactly the market wants. Because even our dear farmers may not have an idea that the products are ending up in a foreign market. So we pity them, and we need, and yet we like them. They're central in terms of organizing our production. So we really, embrace us working with farmers, registering them, building their capacities, because at the end, when you build them, you might support them, create big cooperatives, and you end up, supplying to markets like Marks and Spencer. Because of issues of traceability, we have that opportunity there, but we have not been able to take advantage of it. But once we once we work with farmers, then the issue of traceability, is solved. So then we can be able to really penetrate the high-end market, which will help us, have contracts, because what we've learned is most of our exports go to more of the low-end markets. So then it's difficult for such clients to give us contracts, but we know with high-end markets, you'll be assured of contracts, stable supplies, and the export business will grow, and the country will benefit, and household incomes will improve, and therefore our Vision 2040 will be realized. We'll all be, happy Ugandans in our country, gifted by nature. So with that, I'll conclude by saying export business is all about a relationship, which is manifested in trust, commitment, conflict resolution, and satisfaction. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you all the best in the new norm. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Noreen. I'm sure everybody is smiling, and I've liked the way you have put things. The hard facts, you have called a spade, not a spade, a big spoon. We are nearly coming to the end of this discussion or meeting, and the number of things that have been raised that we are now going to in our question and answer session. And if I look through the number of things that have been asked, but some of them have been answered. Like, for example, the one of Muzungu Robert, who said, thanks for the good work. As for prospective exporters, how do we get access to reliable markets? I have been supplying the exporting companies, and I feel I am ready to serve the international market. This particular question has been answered by Noreen in that model. Now, for Rogers, the steps you have taken is a very, very interesting one and a very, very good one. Actually, it also demonstrates and illustrates to others what they need to do. Now, given the fact that you have been supplying an exporter, you have actually learned a lot of things to the extent that you can now stand boldly and commit yourself and begin looking at exporting. Now, for you to get into exports, number one, please get over to Uganda Export Promotion Board, register with us. We shall do an export readiness assessment on you and guide you appropriately. In terms of the markets, somebody actually also asked that we used to send out information which they are not seeing now. We are actually still sending this information. Just update your contacts with us, that is your emails, update your email contact with us. The last one we sent out was actually about less than 2 weeks ago, where we gave information for wholesalers, retailers of fruits and vegetables in UK, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, in China. There are about 8 or 9 groups of countries that we sent. And it shows basically what they want, where they are, their telephone numbers, their email contacts, and so on. So that is a good one. Now, let me just go step by step based. Rebecca, where do you register online for UMSC support? I don't know whether James is still online. James, are you still online? James, are you still online? Okay, fine. Now that James is not online, we shall get to Microfinance Support Center, get the guidance on how to register, to get the support they offer, and then we shall communicate this to you. Livingstone said, what is needed for an SMA to participate in the incubation process? This is also something that has been directed to Microfinance Support Center and probably UDB. We shall, in the next engagement, answer this, but before we get to the next engagement, we shall pick the preliminary information that is required and we shall share with you. Stella, this is Catherine who said, kindly blow more light on the difference between UNBS certification and the certificate of inspection. Now, UNBS is responsible for standards. It is there to help you ensure that you actually produce whatever you produce that meets the standards that are required in the market. And this is for human health and environmental protection. So it issues or helps you to be compliant with the market standards. For certificate of inspection, for example, if you are doing in the agriculture sector, the Ministry of Agriculture will have to inspect and confirm that actually what you are doing is right, and they confirm it as the competent authority in that subsector. So that will be issued by Ministry of Agriculture. Then for Rogers, thank us for the good work and how does he get into the market? I said, come and register with us because we need to know you. We need to know what you are doing. We need to ensure that you are formal, you have a tax identification number, you are fully registered, we know where you are operating from. Now, once you have done that, you'll fill for us the readiness, export readiness assessment form. We shall cross-check and see what you are talking of. We shall guide you in the areas where you are the few things missing. And once we are confident and that you have met that, then we shall ensure that you now get an export number and continuously continue training you. Now, once you get the export number, and given the fact that we are also now sharing with you information on which market is where and what do they want, then you can start exporting by yourself. But as you start exporting, ensure that you'll be consistent, you'll have the quality, and you'll do the right thing at the right time. Now, where are some of the fruits and vegetable associations in Uganda? The number of vegetable associations in Uganda, you have VEPA, you have Texa, you have Hope, and several of them. Probably we shall also share that. But ultimately, government is looking at having one apex body. But also note that once you get into this sector, for example, if you are in the agricultural sector, there is now the e-phyto system, which is internet-based. So take trouble to understand how that works and what we can help you do. Just walk over here, call us, the contacts are there. We shall help you on that. On the contract of freight, what I have been doing is to send, and then he gets an air bill. Yeah, getting the air bill is good. It is actually proof that you have had an engagement with them. But that is not an end in itself, because the air bill, if it is a contract, will be between you and the airline. But you have contracts with people who are storing your products, you have people who are transporting your products, and several other players along the value chain. So that is important for you to ensure that those contracts are there. But you can still engage on that, because you see, when some of these terms look very big, scary, when you say contract somebody, but some of these are very simple, small things that you don't need to fear. It is just the language. Paul said, great job, Brenda. What happened to the periodic emails that we used to? So now for the periodic emails, we are actually still sending. What you do, number one, register with us, update your emails in case you have made any changes, and you'll be able to get it. But as we share this information, what is important is actually we need feedback from you. If we gave you the details of a client, for example, in UK, we have listed there are about 8 people, 8 farms that want fruits and vegetables. If you have got them, please take trouble to actually give feedback that actually out of the 8, I am now dealing with the 2, or I'm dealing with 1, and this is what we are doing. That type of information actually will help us to ensure you actually grow. What is this that we can do with you to ensure that your business grows, you supply more? Then Lydia said, is it possible for you to develop a manual or curriculum for SMEs to acquire these skills for export management in self-study? Yes, this one we shall do it, but also note that yesterday the Commissioner External Trade in Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperation said there's a program, and that will be run, a training that will be run by Management Training and Advisory Center, MTAC, on export management. So that window is there. This proposal that you have put, we shall also work on it, but let's engage and see. Then Monica said, Madam Noreen, trust should be two-way. As exporters, we have to be trustworthy, but even the importers have to be. Unfortunately, when exporters are cheated, the issue doesn't get much attention like when the importer is cheated. No, this is not true. We are dealing with both parties. If you have an issue, for example, the issue she is raised, the importer actually contacted us. And when the importer contacted us, we are following it. We are going to follow it actually to the letter. And the reason why we are following this is, one, as Noreen put it, we want to build the Ugandan brand. We want to protect our image. We want to ensure that our export revenues and numbers go up. When this goes up, it means more people are involved. More farmers are participating in it. More farmers are producing more. And the 68% will have actually been brought on board in the form of trade. Now, that is when we have cheated an importer. Now, on the other way around, if, and these are cases we have also been dealing with, as an exporter in Uganda, somebody has cheated you, and we have a case here where somebody supplied, and is not, the other fellow to whom is applied has not paid. We are also handling that. So all that we need is, please, if you have any challenge, however small it is, however big it is, please, let's link up, bring this information to us. We have a network that cuts across. We work with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we work with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, we work with our ambassadors, we work with embassies, our embassies in the import markets, but we also work with the embassies based here that from the other side. So what is important is just please raise the information with us, bring it to our attention, give us the necessary documentation that has been used. We shall work on that, and we have done it. But what is important to note here is we are now taking these issues of us cheating the exporters and the importers cheating us very, very seriously. We are going to take very, very drastic actions, and some of the drastic actions will be to delist. If you are a Ugandan exporting or a Ugandan company exporting, we shall delete you from the export list. That is how serious the matter is. Because what you do as an individual in the market actually it's about Uganda. Your simple action, the simple trickery you have done there is now not about you when it gets to international market. It is about the country, Uganda. You are portraying the image of this country wrongly. You are dishonoring and disrespecting the head of state who is driving the export agenda. And you are actually working towards or working against us achieving our vision. So we are going to take this very, very, very seriously. Punitive measures will be put in place to the extent that if it is you who has sent it to the other side or cheated somebody the other side, we shall actually ensure you are deregistered from exporting. So for those who have done it and has not come to our attention, for those who have done it and has come to our attention, you better put things right. This is very serious. Then the other question that came up, the man said that one shall handle. And the other question which came up is, Lawrence, my email is up to date, but I didn't receive that information. That is what Monica is saying. Monica, I will check with the team and ensure we send this. And actually, for even the people who have participated in this Zoom meeting or training, we are going to actually resend this to you before close of business today. My Muzungu is also saying my email is up to date since it's the one I used to register for the webinar, but I did not receive the information. You are going to receive this before close of business today. Paul says there's a new requirement for MIF to use e-FITO. Is there any training for new exporters, especially now that Entebbe is open? Yes, the training is there. We have actually had comprehensive engagement with the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and preliminary trainings and engagements have been going on. For those who have not gone through this, please just notify us and we shall organize this training like yesterday. This is very important because where we have reached, you can now not export without going through the e-FITO system. And under this e-FITO system, anybody who misbehaves, any company that misbehaves, you will be deleted because it's a matter of just clicking and you're out of it. But that is not what we want to do. We want actually more people to come on board. So ladies and gentlemen, let's do the right thing, rightly, at the right time. Lydia said, unfortunately, I missed yesterday's session. Thank you for the information about the MTAC training. Thank you very much for appreciating. We are going to send more information. There are those also asked that they missed yesterday. It is unfortunate, but we shall share with all the people who have been invited the presentation that we have had today. Thank you very much. Now, unless there's any other question or comment that members have to say, I would like to, first of all, thank all of you. Thank you for your being very, very patient. This is very motivating on our side. And at this time, allow me to invite our Director Finance and Administration to give us conclusion and closing remarks. Director Peter, you're welcome. First of all, apologies for being a bit tough. You know, this is at the bottom and top of my heart. And the issue of developing exports in this country is on us all. Nobody is a master to himself or herself. We all must do these things together. Peter, you're welcome. Yes, Peter, are you there?
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm there.
yes,
Can you
you're
hear
there.
me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you, our moderator, and also thank all the facilitators of this meeting. I also want to thank all the listeners for the time you have given to us. Now we have appreciated that you value what we do. And really we want to assure you that we also value what you do with us, because we cannot do any good business without you people outside there. I want to congratulate my staff for having prepared this training, which has come at the right time. Remember when COVID came in and we closed business, some of us thought that we wouldn't carry out such a meeting. Therefore, I want to thank my staff for having prepared and made this day okay. And we want to assure our viewers that this is the beginning. We have to keep engaging, because really it is important that we do business with you. We do business with all development partners to ensure that we achieve on our mandate. If I go back to our mandate, is to facilitate the development, diversification, promotion of all export-related activities. And in a bid to do this, that's why we came up with our training on export readiness. You know, as we are mandated as Uganda Export Promotion Board to do business of export-related activities, we have to engage you and find out that really all existing exporters and potential ones are well versed with what is happening, so that we take you through all the processes so that we are sure that you are ready to export. And here we have to emphasize that we are open here, we are ready to work with you, and in case there is anyone with any issues, either you check on us from our website or you walk in here so that we engage and we prepare ourselves in order to do good business. Now, when you want to do good business, first of all, you must prepare and you must plan. And in our old adage, we know that things go to those who wait. If you plan and wait for your real time, you will do your business and achieve all that you want. Now, our main theme being export readiness, we wanted to take you through all the steps that we think are very important for you and for us to do good, credible business. And really, like my staff were presenting, we have developed a tool on export readiness, which we call Export Readiness Program. And this is meant for all of us, for all of you, to make sure that if we go through all these steps, then we are sure that we are ready to export. That's why, if you look at our presentations, we are training you, we are training ourselves on why we export. We are training ourselves on marketing. We are training ourselves on planning, so that as we plan, as we do our business, we are sure of what to do. Now, we want to encourage you that in case you have any challenge or you have anything that you think you want to advise us, please come. Uganda Export Promotion Board is open for everyone. And in case you cannot reach us here physically, we have our daily telephone numbers which you can use so that you can get information that will help you do business. And we want to thank you because every time we come here, we see many people coming here for the consultations, and really we know that this is why we exist. First of all, we know it is not easy for people to walk in. We have people from all over the country, but through engagement with government, and as we have known that one of our roles is to advise the government on export-related activity. Government has of recent approved regional offices. We want to extend our services to regional offices, which central government has already approved. Therefore, in a short time, you will be finding us in Arua. We shall have a regional office in Arua. We shall have a regional office in Guru. We shall have a regional office in Mbare. We shall have a regional office in Mbarara. And then we shall have an office at Entebbe Airport. All these interventions are meant to facilitate and help both potential and existing exporters. Working closely with our Ministry of Trade, they are also establishing export zones at border points, like we are considering Pondwe, Katuna, and Busia, so that if you are out there, instead of running up here, you can use those facilities, and our staff, both Export Promotion Board and staff from Ministry of Trade, will be positioned in those areas. And all this is done to ensure that we help our exporters. Now, we are still struggling with our internet and online communications. We need to apologize for where things never went right. Like we never got our facilitator from Uganda Development Bank, but we promise that we shall bring this presentation on board in our subsequent meetings so that we know, because we have to work with our development partners. We want to facilitate our exporters with those people or development partners who are able to finance our business, like ADB, like Bank of Uganda, like Ministry of Finance, like Ministry of Trade. So we have to keep engaging with these people, keep engaging with you people there, so that we all do business. And when you do business, when you succeed, we all succeed, and the whole country succeeds. So without boring you a lot with all these statements, I once again want to thank you very much for your participation. At first, we never considered the time differences. I was getting concerns from people who woke up at around 5 in the morning. In our subsequent trainings, we shall consider that so that we can even have trainings after lunch, so that those people who could have this problem of waking up very early in the night, they could have an adjustment. Otherwise, we thank you. We thank you very much. We treasure your time, and we hope that you will keep engaging us. And don't feel tired. We shall not be tired. We are going to help each other for the development of our country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. That was actually, if we were sitting one place, would have given you a very huge standing ovation. So allow me also thank you for very good concluding remarks. And on that note, let me again thank everybody and call the meeting to an end. Thank you very much. See you again. Please, let's communicate. Let's talk to one another.
So that